Hi everyone, welcome back to our video series on starting percussion instruments. This is video 3 of our series where we're going to talk about playing position. If you haven't already watched videos 1 and 2 where we talk about the parts of the instrument, how to open the case, and the grip of the sticks, pause this video, go back and watch those other 2 videos, and then rejoin us on this one. But if you have watched the first 2 and you're ready to go on, you're in the right place. Let's learn a little bit about playing position. So here in front of me are both of our percussion instruments, our snare drum and our bells. And before we ever talk about playing position, the first thing we need to do is we need to what I call set the table. We need to make sure that these instruments are set up at the correct height and at the correct angles in order for us to play at our absolute best. So as a reminder, our playing position, when we talked about how to set up the bells and the snare drum, we want to make sure that the playing surface of these instruments is just slightly below our belly button, about 2 or 3 inches below our waistline. So make sure that if they're too high or too low, that you use the telescoping mechanism on the stand that we showed you in the first video. So it looks like my bells are flat and about 2 or 3 inches below my waistline. Those are good. As I go to my snare drum, that also looks flat, just like our bell set as well. If it wasn't flat, you might have a snare drum that looks something like this. Notice how this one is at an angle, not flat like the bells here. We would want to loosen the mechanism down here that tilts the drum, make sure that it's straight. And now it's in good playing position. So after I've adjusted my tables, we're also going to make sure that the correct part of the bells are facing me. I want to make sure that the white keys of the piano, the bottom keys of the bells are closest to my body. On the snare drum, I want to make sure that the snare drum on-off lever is here in front of my body as well. That way I'm not reaching over the drum to turn that lever on and off. It's right here in front of me. So with these instruments at the correct height, a couple inches below my waistline, my drum is flat, everything is set, ready to go, the lever is closer to my body, the correct keys are closest to my body. Now we're going to talk about playing position. And playing position for our percussion instruments, regardless of whether you play the bells or the snare drum, the playing position is the same. So the first thing I'd like you to do is just bring your arms down to your side and relax. And as you're standing here, make sure that your feet are comfortably apart, and you want to make sure that your weight is equal on both feet. Don't lean to one side or another. Your arms are relaxed by your side. Now, as you're here, let us check our grip real quick. So for the snare drum, remember that we are gripping 1/3 above the stick, 1/3 up the stick. Using our fulcrum, the thumbprint, and our first finger on the stick, pinching together, holding that in place. We're wrapping our other fingers around the stick like so. And let's bring those arms back down. We're nice and relaxed. Feet are comfortable width apart, equally balanced. And now all you're going to do is, bending at the elbows, bring your forearms up. And I'm going to move over here to my snare drum. So your arms were down at your side. You're going to bend at the elbows, bring your forearms up. Now from here, we want to have our drumsticks into the playing position. So with our good grip, fulcrum 1/3 of the way up the stick and wrapping the fingers around, you want to make sure that you turn your hands where your palms are facing down. The back of your hands are facing the ceiling, and your sticks are creating a V. Now, as I look at my snare drum surface here, if I found the bullseye right in the center, I don't want my sticks coming together right there at the center. I want to play off center of the drum just a little bit. So I'm going to move just slightly off center, but still I'm going to play over the center. If I cut this drum in half, I would still play over this line right here. This is on the underside where your snares run, so we always want to make sure that our sticks are above the snares. So finding the center of the drum, Play a little off center with good grip, sticks forming a V, arms are relaxed, and this is your playing position. As I move over to the bells, same instructions. We're going to find our grip first. Let's find it about halfway up the stick. Find your fulcrum. Wrap your fingers around. Let's check our hands, make sure the mallets are even. All right, arms down at the side, feet a comfortable width apart. Weight distributed evenly, bending at the elbows. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to turn our hands so our palms are facing down, top of the hands are facing up. And we're going to put our mallet head, the black part of the mallet, in between the two screws that you see on each key. So that would be the correct place to strike each key. We're not going to strike the key below the screw or on the screw or above the screw. We're going to find that midpoint right in between, and that's where we'll strike. So we've talked about opening the case, the different parts of the instrument, your grip, and the proper playing position. Move on to the next video when you're ready, and we'll talk about how to actually start playing these instruments.